For 76 years, we called it the ninth planet. Then, in 2006, we humiliated it in front of the entire world. We downgraded Pluto to a dwarf, a cosmic joke, a frozen pebble too small to matter. Scientists laughed. Textbooks were rewritten. The public moved on. We thought the story was over. But in 2015, when New Horizons finally reached this exiled world, the data it sent back made NASA scientists go silent. What we found wasn't a dead rock. It was a planet actively rewriting the rules of planetary science, a surface that renews itself every 500,000 years, a moon so massive it controls Pluto's entire rotation, and underground oceans that might be 100 kilometers deep. Pluto didn't just survive its demotion. It came back with secrets that make Earth look boring. This is the revenge of the ninth planet. July 14th, 2015. After 9 years of traveling through the void, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft had exactly one chance. One 15-minute window to photograph a world we'd only seen as a blurry pixel for 85 years. The probe was moving at 31,000 miles per hour. There would be no second pass, no do-overs, just a high-speed flyby through the darkest edge of the solar system and then gone forever into the Kuiper Belt. As the spacecraft closed in, Mission Control held their breath. They expected a cratered wasteland, a dead twin of our moon, pockmarked by 4 billion years of asteroid impacts. The first high-resolution image came through, and everyone stopped talking. Instead of ancient craters covering every inch, they saw something impossible. Vast plains of nitrogen ice, perfectly smooth, pristine, no impact scars, no asteroid hits, nothing. On a planet with no thick atmosphere to burn up meteors, with no volcanic activity, no plate tectonics. How was this surface less than 10 million years old in a solar system that's 4.6 billion years old? Something was erasing Pluto's history, and it was still happening right now. The answer lies in something planetary scientists call cryovolcanism. But that's a terrible name for what's actually happening. What's going on is far stranger. Deep in Pluto's core, radioactive elements are decaying. Not enough heat to melt rock, not even close. But enough to do something scientists thought was impossible at negative 390 degrees Fahrenheit. It creates slow-motion convection in solid nitrogen. Think about a lava lamp for a second. Hot wax rises, cools at the top, sinks back down. The cycle takes maybe 5 minutes. Now imagine that same process, but each cycle takes 500,000 years. And instead of liquid wax, it's frozen nitrogen, harder than concrete. These massive convection cells rise up from deep below, spread out across the surface like a slow-motion conveyor belt, then sink back down at the edges. Every crater gets dragged inward, every meteor scar, every asteroid impact from the last 10 million years, slowly swallowed, recycled, erased. Pluto is resurfacing itself. It's geologically active without having geology. It has weather without having an atmosphere thick enough to matter. It's alive without being alive. On the frozen edge of the solar system, where everything should be dead and static, Pluto refuses to stop moving. But the smoothness was only part of the mystery. At the edges of these nitrogen plains, New Horizons spotted something that broke every computer model of how ice is supposed to behave. Mountains, but not just any mountains. Peaks of water ice jutting 11,000 feet into the black sky. Not rounded, not weathered, razor-sharp edges, slopes so steep they would be physically impossible on Earth. They looked freshly carved, like someone had chiseled them into existence yesterday. Here's the thing. On Earth, mountains erode. Wind tears them down. Rain carves valleys. Glaciers grind them smooth. Ice cracks and flows. Time wears everything down. On Pluto, there's no wind strong enough to matter. No rain, no flowing water. And at negative 390 degrees, water ice doesn't behave like the ice in your freezer. It doesn't crack or flow or melt. At that temperature, water ice has the strength and rigidity of granite. These mountains haven't eroded in 1 billion years. Their edges are still sharp. Their faces are still steep. They're frozen in time. So how did they form? Scientists now believe these are the peaks of massive ice blocks that erupted upward when Pluto's crust fractured billions of years ago during its violent youth, when the solar system was still forming, when planets were still colliding and breaking apart. These mountains are fossils, frozen moments of catastrophic violence, preserved perfectly in the coldest museum in the solar system. And they'll stay sharp for another 1 billion years. But the biggest shock wasn't on the surface. It was 1,000 miles above it. As New Horizons looked back at Pluto, watching it eclipse the distant sun, the cameras saw something no one predicted. Not one atmosphere, but more than 20 distinct layers of haze stacked on top of each other like a cosmic wedding cake extending 120 miles into space. At that distance from the sun, there shouldn't be enough energy to create weather. There shouldn't be enough activity to make haze. But there it was, clear as day in the images. Here's what's happening. Ultraviolet light from the sun hits methane gas, escaping from Pluto's surface. The UV radiation is so intense, it rips the methane molecules apart. The fragments recombine into these complex organic molecules called tholins. And here's the wild part. Tholins are the same organic chemistry that existed on early Earth. The same molecules that eventually became the building blocks of life. On Pluto, they create a blue haze that scatters sunlight, making the sky glow blue during sunrise and sunset. It's one of only 4 worlds in the entire solar system with a blue sky: Earth, Titan, Neptune, and Pluto. These tholins eventually rain down onto the surface, but the atmosphere is so thin and the gravity so weak that it takes centuries for a single particle to drift from the top of the atmosphere all the way to the ground. Pluto is snowing in slow motion, coating its surface in organic chemistry, one molecule at a time. For years after the New Horizons flyby, scientists debated whether Pluto could possibly have liquid water beneath its surface. Most said no. Too cold. Too far from the sun. Not enough internal heat. Then in 2024, a team at Washington University analyzed the data again. They built new models of Pluto's interior temperature and pressure, and they found something everyone had missed. Pure water would freeze solid at those depths. That part was true, but if you add ammonia to water, it acts like antifreeze. Water mixed with ammonia can stay liquid down to negative 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And Pluto's core is full of ammonia. The models now suggest a subsurface ocean, 60 to 100 kilometers deep, sitting beneath 200 kilometers of solid ice. Let me put that in perspective. The deepest point in Earth's oceans, the Mariana Trench, is 11 kilometers deep. Pluto's ocean might be 10 times deeper than the deepest part of Earth's oceans. A pitch-black sea locked beneath hundreds of miles of ice at the frozen edge of the solar system. And here's where it gets interesting. Liquid water, organic chemistry raining down from above, heat from radioactive decay rising from below. On paper, those are the exact same three ingredients that allowed life to emerge in Earth's deep ocean vents. Could Pluto's ocean have something moving in the dark? Honestly, we don't know. We won't know for decades, maybe longer. But the fact that we're even asking the question about a world we called dead just 20 years ago tells you how much we underestimated Pluto. Pluto is the edge of what we've explored up close. Only one spacecraft has ever been there. We got 15 minutes of data, and then New Horizons kept going, disappearing into the Kuiper Belt. We may never go back. But 2 billion miles closer to the sun, there's another world. One we've been watching through telescopes for centuries but have never truly understood. A planet where winds break the sound barrier, screaming across the surface faster than a fighter jet. Where the core burns at 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the sun. Where storms the size of Earth appear in the atmosphere and then vanish without explanation. Where a single year lasts 165 Earth years, and we've never seen a complete orbit. Neptune is chaos wrapped in blue ice, and its mysteries run even deeper than Pluto's. But that story is next. Keep looking up, stay curious, and never underestimate the planets we think we know.